For this video, we are going to be constructing a character for our upcoming solo RPG campaign using Daggerheart.
Ta-da!
Hello gamers, Matthew here from Grey Army Gaming in lovely southern Sweden. Yes, we are going to make our character today for our solo sessions of Daggerheart. Now hopefully this video will be interesting for you for two reasons. First of all, if you're looking at making a character and you don't know exactly how to do it, you can follow along today as we walk you through the steps for how to make a character. And second, if you're interested in solo role-playing and you're wondering about what are the specific aspects of solo role-playing that I need to take into consideration when making a character, well, we're going to touch upon that a little bit today as well as we construct our own character. The idea is that when this is finished, we will have a fully formed character that we can then throw into our solo role-playing sessions as we walk through the Daggerheart system. The first step is going to be to choose a class for our character. Now, there are a lot of different options for classes in Daggerheart, but I have immediately been drawn to the Bard class. With respect to the Bard, there are two subclasses now. We have the Troubadour or we have the Wordsmith. I am really drawn to the Wordsmith. It says here if you want to use clever wordplay and captivate crowds. So that is going to be my character, will be a Bard and a Wordsmith. Once I've decided that, I can go ahead and download the character sheet for the Bard from the Daggerheart website where I've got everything ready to go here. And I can go ahead and write in the subclass already, Wordsmith. So we'll just put that right here on subclass. All right, with that done too, I can go ahead and pull out the cards that I will be using for my Wordsmith. Our next step now is to pick out our heritage. Now, I'm going to do something a little interesting here with heritage. Let's start out by Loreborne. Let's pick that. And Loreborne means that, I can read what it says here. Being part of a Loreborne community means you're from a society that favors strong academic or political prowess. I think that will go really well with the type of character that we are creating with our Wordsmith. Now, what I want to do, however, is to create a sort of a mixed character here. We're going to have a character who is an elf, but I'm also going to say that the elf is going to have aspects of Clank involved. So basically, it's going to be an elf that has appendages, and I haven't quite figured out if I by that I mean arms and legs or one arm or whatever, but we're going to say that the elf has been combined together with the Clank in an interesting way. So we can call this primarily an elf character with Clank characteristics. So let's write that in our character sheet. So here we go, Loreborne, and we will write here elf/Clank. Next off, let's go over to our characteristics here and fill this in. So let's start out with our +2. I think we're definitely going to need a +2 with our presence. We're going to have a very good stage presence, a lot of charm. Then we have a +1. And you know what? I think I'm going to put +1 here on finesse. I'm assuming that we have come up with this Clank bit, these Clank parts, appendages ourselves. So we're going to have high roll there for finesse, for tinker. Let's add another +1 to, let's put it to knowledge as well. So we'll add a +1 to knowledge. We'll add a 0 to instinct. We'll add a 0 to agility, and let's put a -1 for strength. We're not going to be a very strong character. We're going to have to try to find ways that don't involve combat to get what we want. We can go ahead and right now fill in our level. We are starting out at level 1, and then let's go over here to evasion. We're going to be starting with the base evasion, so we're starting with a 10 for our evasion. Before we head over to armor and weapons, let's go ahead and just fill in our hope. I'm just going to fill in 2 circles here. We'll begin with 2 hope in our solo games. With respect to armor and weapons, I'm just going to take what is given in the suggestions here underneath the Bard. We're going to go primary weapon. We're going to go rapier. We're going to have a secondary weapon of a dagger. And suggested armor, we're going to go gambeson armor. So there we go. We've got our weapons and our armor written out here. We've got our rapier, presence melee, D8 physical. We've got our small dagger, D8 physical, one-handed. Gives us some nice benefits. I've written that down here. And also our active armor. Now, this is going to give us a +1 to evasion because it is flexible. So let's go ahead already and just change this to 11. This only applies when we're wearing our armor, but I'm going to have my armor on, I think, all the time. So I'm just going to write an 11 here right away so I don't forget to get that extra benefit to evasion. And we have armor, a base score of 3, so we'll write 3 over here. And that means I'm able now to use my points, armor points, in order to change the type of damage that I take. Here's our base threshold. Now, this is a 5 and 11. So we're going to go add this over here to our damage and health. A 5 and 11. Now, remember, we add our level 1 to this. So it will be a 6 and a 12. So we can go ahead and write 6 here and 12 here. And that will be the difference between minor, major, and severe damage. Next up, let's fill in our inventory. And here I'm not going to do anything super creative. I'm just going to use the inventory that is provided with the character sheet. All right, so this is super fun. We got a torch, 50 feet of rope, basic supplies. I'm guessing that's just things to help us live. A handful of gold, and I have already marked that over here. Handful of gold, 1 handful there. In addition to that, I have taken a minor health potion because I'm going to be a bit of a squishy character, I think. I'm probably going to need that. I've taken the letter never opened. Now, this is really cool for the narrative purposes of this game. I've got a letter that I've never opened. Who is it from? What does it say on the letter? We will find out as we play. And also, I have my spell book. Now, we can figure out how we want to store our spells, and I have decided that I will keep my spell book in a thesaurus. So I had a thesaurus that I had a bookbinder add some more pages to. So I've got words, a treasury of words in my thesaurus where I also write down my spells. For my character description, I'm just going to turn to the character guide once again and look at some of the descriptive words here in the character description. I'm going to go ahead and pick out some of those and then just write it down here at the bottom of my character sheet. And here's some character descriptions. We are going to have extravagant, colorful clothes, eyes like winter, so they're going to be blue grayish eyes, a tall thin body, and skin like falling snow, so kind of almost pale in fact. And we have an attitude of a ringmaster, which is going to work well with our wordsmith subclass. With respect to background questions, I'm actually not going to answer these questions. I'm going to leave them blank, and I'm going to try to fill in the background of my character as I actually play the solo session. So let's leave all of that out, and our character's background will be filled in as we play. Next off, let's go ahead and pick out 2 experiences. I'm going to look at these experience examples to see if there's anything that speaks to me. Otherwise, I'm going to come up with my own. All right, I take a look at the list and got some inspiration, but I decided to come up with 2 of my own. The first experience is going to be Expert Social Facade Builder. What I mean by that is our character is really good at putting up a facade that hides how he's really thinking or feeling, and this is going to be consistent with his wordsmith bard class and subclass. In addition, I also gave him the experience of Curious Tinkerer. Now, I'm assuming that our character was involved in coming up with the clank appendages on his body. So I will assume that he is a good tinkerer and he's curious, but maybe his curiosity gets him into some trouble. But there we go, +2 for each of those experiences. Next off, it is time for us to choose our cards for our bard. Now, we have the Grace and the Codex domain, so I pulled out all of the level 1 cards for Grace and Codex. Let's go ahead and look through these cards and pick out 2 of them that we want. We can take 2 from this, or 1 from each. Well, it didn't take me long to pick out these 2 cards. I took a card from the Grace and a card from the Codex. From the Grace domain, I took Deaf Deceiver, spend a hope to gain advantage on a roll to deceive or trick someone into believing a lie you tell them. That would be great for me as a bard wordsmith. And over here, I took the Grimoire Book of Iliad, and there are 3 different spell abilities here. One is Slumber. I can make people fall asleep, which will be great if I'm sneaking around. We have Arcane Barrage, where I can do some damage from a distance. And then we also have Telepathy, where I can spend a hope to open up a line of communication with someone, which will also be very helpful for the character that we are making. And last but not least, let's give our character a name. And I'm going to go with a elf-sounding name and something that I can easily pronounce and something that sounds good. So let's go ahead and give our character the name Thrandir of Heleron. So Thrandir of Heleron. Well, there you have it, folks. With these few simple steps, we have now come up with our character for our SOLO Daggerheart campaign. We now have Thrandir of Heleron, who is a Loreborne Elf with aspects of Clank. He is a bard and a wordsmith, very strong in things like presence and finesse, not so strong in things like strength, so hopefully he doesn't get into a lot of physical combats. His experiences now, he is an expert at social facade building and a curious tinkerer. We have, of course, wordsmith cards here, our elf and our Clank Loreborne. He also has Deaf Deceiver and the Book of Iliad to help him out with some interesting abilities and spells later on as we play. Our character description, he's got extravagant, colorful clothes, eyes like the winter, tall, thin body with pale skin, and an attitude like a ringmaster. He's got a lot of personality, but he's also hiding a lot of things. We will find out what that means when we play this game. If you like this kind of video, you want to see more solo RPG gameplay with Daggerheart, then please do subscribe to the channel, give a thumbs up to this video, comment below, and I will continue to make more videos like this. And moreover, in the coming weeks and months, I'm hoping to dive into the Daggerheart system and play a longer solo campaign using our fantastic character that we've come up with, Thrandir of Heleron. So join us for that in the future. And most importantly, thank you for joining us here today at Grey Army Gaming for the future of solo gaming.